It's all starting to happen now, guys. After the Elanga bid was accepted, later on from that, it turns out Leeds United have now bid for midfielder Sean Longstaff. That looks like it's also going to go ahead. And Keith Downey reporting that the next on the agenda for Newcastle is a striker. Hi everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review. My name's Paul. This is your latest Newcastle United news. So we'll start off with the Sean Longstaff situation. Of course, last night reports came in that Leeds United had made a further bid for Sean Longstaff, around about £10 million plus $2 million in add-ons. We're not sure what the add-ons are. I would assume that'll be appearances and Leeds staying in the Premier League and that kind of thing. This is a very, very good move for Sean. And time after time after time, we've said that, he's not quite that elite player that we need. He's struggled in certain games, but he's been a hell of a player for us. There's no doubt about that. He has worked his arse off for Newcastle United. And yes, we've criticised him for his performances, which have been absolutely justified. However, looking back over his Newcastle career, he has done a lot of right things for Newcastle United, and we certainly wish him well if that move does go ahead. Now, apparently, personal terms are agreed, but now Sean needs to make the decision if he wants to leave his hometown club. He's not going to get a lot of football, is he, at Newcastle? Let's be fair. There is a lot of players in front of him for various positions, so Sean would probably only be looking at things like Carabao Cup games or FA Cup games, maybe a few Premier League games here and there. I think it was sort of the writing was on the wall, wasn't it, at the end of last season when Sean was on the bench a lot, but he brought the likes of Miley and Willock on, etc., in front of Sean, and he didn't get any football. But listen, to go to Leeds is a fantastic move, I think, for Sean, because it's not too far away. You can probably still live in the northeast and travel down to Leeds. He's got a very young family, of course, which is very important to him. And, Leeds will be at the wrong end of the table next season. I don't think there's any doubt in that, without disrespect to Leeds. They're going to be fighting to stay in the Premier League. And Sean is the type of player that you need. When we look back over Sean's career at Newcastle United, he's been very much a battling midfielder. He likes to win the ball, but, sometimes he just takes too long on it, doesn't he? But I don't think that's going to be a problem at Leeds because he can win the ball, he can get it to the faster players, things like that. So I think the move in general is a good one. And if the reports are right, what I'm hearing, that he wanted Newcastle United to get a fee for him rather than let him go for free next summer, I think that is an incredible gesture by the player. And hats off to Sean Longstaff for that, by the way, because he understands how PSR works. This is a pure profit deal because obviously he's grown up through the ranks at Newcastle United and come through. So it is a pure profit. And when you look at it, it kind of pays for the Elanga deal. I know it's not like 55 million quid, but if you look at the way PSR works, it's a hell of a good fee to get for Sean. And if we get the 2 million in add-ons as well, that's an additional bonus. So, listen, I mean, Leeds, I'm looking at Leeds Live at the moment, which is similar to our Chronicle. And they're claiming that Newcastle United have accepted the bid from Leeds for midfielder Sean Longstaff. 27-year-old Newcastle man has been subject to a series of offers from Leeds United. This isn't the first time that they've bid for him over the summer. It's all been very quiet, though, hasn't it? There's been nothing really in the public eye about it. There's been interest, certainly, from Leeds and Everton, etc., but we've never heard of an actual bid coming in for Sean Longstaff. This one was made public, of course, last night. The Whites are understood to have bid 10 million with 2 million add-ons. And our sister site, Chronicle Live, reporting the Mags decided to accept the offer on Tuesday morning. It has been reported Longstaff has already agreed personal terms with the onus now on the player to make a decision on whether he wants to leave his hometown club. I think he will. And I said before the transfer window opened, I think Sean would want to play football. Knowing the character he is, I don't think Sean Longstaff wants to sit on the bench or not even be included in a matchday squad. He will feel he's still got a lot to offer at 27-year-old. And I certainly think that Leeds are getting a very, very good midfield. If you look back on some of Sean's performances, let's be fair, he's done okay. Last season, not so good. Not so good. And I think Sean will be the first to admit that, really. But this could be a really good, fresh start for Sean Longstaff in a team that is going to be, fighting to stay in the Premier League. It's the kind of games that Sean revels in. The fight games, the ones that, the really... He's got to get stuck in, and hopefully he'll do a great job for Leeds United. The medical is expected to happen towards the end of the week. This, of course, based on whether Sean decides to leave, but everything is in place now. And he did turn up at pre-season training yesterday, of course, but the medical could be now at the end of the week. It's only a change of heart by Longstaff, apparently preventing this move from happening. But I think Sean will go. I think he honestly will go because he'll want to play first-team football. Now, Keith Downey reporting this morning that once the Longstaff deal obviously was sorted out, the Elanga, of course, sorted out, he's expected to fly into Newcastle today to start his medical and hopefully be announced as a Newcastle player in a couple of days' time and join up with his new teammates. Keith Downey is reporting that Newcastle's next target is going to be a striker. So, although we've been talking a lot about centre-backs, the right centre-back situation, does that need addressing? Scalvini's been mentioned many, many times, of course. But it seems like our attention is going to turn to a striker. And I kind of agree with it because we can't rely on Isak for all season. Eddie obviously has plans for Asula, whether that be on the right side or through the middle, we don't know. Asula can give us a lot. He's very much been utilised last season on the right-hand side, of course, but has done really, really well. And I think he's impressed Eddie Howe to the point where Eddie knows that he can play Asula in certain positions. But we do need an out-and-out striker, as in the Isak mould. Somebody who is going to score goals. If Isak gets injured or, we rotate, Eddie will want to rotate. He will not want to put the pressure on Isak that he put on last season. Because at the end of the season, guys, it was clear to see that Isak was absolutely goosed. He was out of energy. He'd been used a lot during the season. And we don't want that to happen again because that's when injuries start to happen. So obviously a striker is a really, really good option to go for next. Whatever's happening with the centre-back situation, I don't know. But who is going to be that striker? Of course, Calvert-Lewin's been mentioned. There's not really anybody else being linked with Newcastle United on a striker front anyway. But that may obviously ramp up over the next couple of days if Newcastle United and Keith are right, and it is a striker that we're going to get. But it's very exciting now because we are starting to make moves. We are starting to now... sort the squad out. Sean heading out the other way, another player coming in. Do we need another midfielder maybe? Is he going to have a look at... I've seen plenty of Newcastle fans this morning on social media putting things like, let's go back for Elliot Anderson. Let's make an offer that Forest can't refuse. Let's bring him in. But I honestly can't see that happening, guys. If I'm openly honest, I would love to see Elliot Anderson back in Newcastle United. There's Harvey Elliott, of course. He's been linked with Newcastle United many, many times. That's gone a little bit quiet in the last few days. But when it starts to go a little bit quiet like that, you kind of hope that things are working behind the scenes. And certainly, they've done this with Elanga. James Trafford, by the way, there's still nothing on him. Very, very quiet this morning on James Trafford. As far as I know, he's back with Burnley training again today. So I don't know whether that's hit a snag or not. Keith Downey and the rest of the journalists are pretty confident this deal still goes ahead. So I'm not sure what the hold-up with that is. We'll just have to wait and see in due course, guys. But it's all very positive this morning. Obviously, a little bit sad for Sean because, I think that injury crippled him, didn't it? That injury he had a few years back when, Manchester United were interested in him. It was really sad when he got that injury because I don't think he's been the same player since. But he's done really good things. And like I say, we obviously we've criticised him, and rightly so. We can only look at performances on the pitch. He hasn't been great of late. However, this could be just what Sean Longstaff needs. He's been a fantastic servant to Newcastle United. I must state that. He has. He's played some big games. He scored some big goals for us as well. None bigger than the Champions League goal he scored, of course, against PSG. The penalty that he won the game at Nottingham Forest last season, of course, when we started the journey to the Carabao Cup. So he has scored some big goals. So if he does go, of course, we wish him all the best. But let me know in the comments below, who do you think Newcastle will turn to as a striker? Are you sad to see Sean leave, or do you agree with me and think that it's going to be a really positive move for Sean? And what's going on with James Trafford? Does anybody know? But let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching the video. As usual, please do give it a like if you've enjoyed the video. And of course, please do subscribe if you are new. It is completely free to do so. The only thing that we ask is that you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload such as this or a live video, a live show in the future. And check out the website as well, thetoonreview.com, for all your channel merchandise, and please keep voting for us in the Football Content Awards for this year. All the instructions are pinned at the top of the description for this video. But thank you very much for watching. We'll see you very soon, guys. Take care.